Welcome to the Robot Systems tutorial on tools, groups and master groups. This video will aim to explain the relationship between these elements. First, we will look at tools. This is the tool library. Shown in the table at the top are all the tools that have been set up. For the purpose of demonstration, we'll just choose any tool out of the list. Now shown in the table in the bottom are all the parameters that define a tool. This tool being a Kabi tool TSPR08. This tool has physical characteristics which define it and its machining capabilities. The capabilities we will be looking at are the feeds and speeds. Max cutting speed is the upper limit of which this tool can be used to process material. Max plunge speed is again the upper limit for the speed that this tool can penetrate a material. Next is the max rotational speed for the tool. The last characteristic that is worth taking note of for this demonstration is the diameter of the tool, in this case 6.35 millimeters. These parameters will dictate and constrain other settings within groups and master groups. This sample job is to be cut from 10mm acrylic and consists of a circular array of circles around a central circle. To see how groups and master groups are used and how they relate to tools, we'll apply them to this sample job. The central circle is to be removed from the material entirely and requires a through cut. However, the outside array of circles will only be pocketed to a depth of 5 millimeters. Both of these operations are to be done with the same 1/4-inch cutter. But how do you differentiate between a shape that needs cutting through or one that just needs to be pocketed to a depth of 5 millimeters? The answer is through the use of groups and master groups. Groups specify how to use the tool to achieve the shape that the group is applied to. For the example shown, we need 2 different groups to achieve the results we want. So we will click Add to create a second group. Now a tool is chosen to be applied to the group. After selecting a tool for a group, you can see that a table opens up containing all the parameters for the tool. The tool being the Kabi tool TSPR08 that we looked at previously. Note the maximum speeds that were listed earlier as well. The table on the left contains the parameters that define the group. You can see here that you can specify speeds for cutting. These are the speeds that we applied when cutting for this group. These speeds will be constrained by the maximum that is allowed for the tool. Now is probably a good time to give some meaningful names to our groups. The first being through cut 10mm acrylic. The second group then being for the pocket cuts as such, called pocket cut 5mm 10mm acrylic. Now we have our 2 groups, we need to further set up their behaviours. You'll notice a column here for master groups. We'll come back to this. For now, we'll scroll across and set up the depth of our cuts. The through cut will be cut to a depth of 10.5 millimeters, multi-passing at 6 millimeters per pass. The pocketed shapes will be cut to a depth of 5 millimeters and require no multi-passing. You can see now how the same tool can be used in different ways through the use of groups. We now need to go back and set up the speeds for the other group. This can become tedious, but thankfully that's where master groups come in. Now we will access the master groups library by clicking on the master groups button. This table contains all of the master groups. Master groups are groups that have been saved previously because their behaviors may be used again in different processes. In this library, there are master groups that are applicable to our job. This master group uses the tool that we want with the speeds that we want. Not only that, it contains the depths that we want and how to cut to that depth using multipassing. Another master group exists that contains the pocketing operation that we want and all its associated parameters. Now we'll go back and use master groups and see how easy it is to set up our operations. We'll set up two new groups to create from scratch. One will be the through group and the other will be the pocket group. Next is to apply the master group to the group. For the through cutting operation, we'll use the master group 1/4 inch cutter, 10mm acrylic. After applying the second master group, we can look at the settings and see that they are the same after simply selecting the master group. Groups aren't constrained by master groups. Rather, it can be thought of that groups inherit their properties from the master groups. For instance, if we were to find that this particular piece of acrylic is chattering while cutting at a certain speed, we can refine this speed without affecting the master group, yet having the benefit of all the properties being brought over from the master group. If it were found that the change in speed solved the chatter issue, this group may wish to be used again in future, and so we can save it as a master group. Give the master group a meaningful name and click OK. Your newly created master group will be stored in the master group library. Now all that needs to be done is to assign the shapes to their groups. Click on the Move Group button, select the shape with the right mouse button, right-click to end the selection. We've now finished exploring the relationship between tools, groups, and master groups.